Hey there, I'm Jayma, and over the past few years, I've become very interested in onomatology, the study of names. I've never really liked my name until I researched the meaning of it. My name means paradigm shifter, and I'd like to shift your paradigm by shining a light on onomatology and how it can potentially help you find your purpose, help you communicate better with others, or even both. In each episode, I ask someone 8 basic questions regarding their first name. So sit back, relax, and try to shift your paradigm with this next episode. All right, so on this next episode, I'm excited about this one because I get to interview somebody from a different country again, those are almost always my favorite just because I love learning about people from around the world. And this person I met on Instagram, and her account was so lovely and so beautiful. And I think that we have some things in common in terms of our love for names. So, welcome to the podcast, Bonnie.
Thank you so much, Jayma. It's lovely to be here, and thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Yes, of course. Well, and before we get into the first question, if you could just give the listeners just a little bit of information about yourself and where you're podcasting from.
Yes, of course. I'm in Australia, so it's nice to connect with a fellow name lover from the States. I find it really interesting to um, hear different perspectives on names, and I love that the internet provides this space where we can all, obsess a little about name meaning and the beauty of names and words and how we use them. So I have an Instagram page, as you mentioned, which is dedicated to names and the beauty of words, really, too.
Yeah, great. And I am very curious, though. I do have like one initial question.
Of course.
I'm just curious, how did you become interested in names and why did you create your name account on Instagram?
I think it's something that it's probably in the bigger picture. I spent a lot of time living overseas as a child. And names are different between countries. And so I was exposed to a lot of different names, a lot of different meaning, a lot of different languages. And when I was really from six, we lived in Italy and France and Switzerland, and of course went to school in Italy. And my dad used to read to us in English, but he read us and taught us poetry and how to recite poetry. So I think there was always that approach to names that felt a little bit more narrative and a little bit more about the poetics of names and the deeper meaning. And I think it's just a personality trait. I think I'm just someone who sees so much beauty in the way that you can use language.
Hmm.
And in a funny way, a lot of my friends knowing this. And I should also say I'm a copywriter. So outside of my job, I work as a freelance copywriter for very high-end brands in fashion, beauty, and lifestyle. So I'm always having that kind of interaction with language and talking to people who are pregnant, or I've got my own children and talking to them about names. Um, it's something I just gravitated towards and often ended up speaking to friends, speaking to family about names, and to the point where I've created my own little space for it online. Um,
Love
and
it.
if you happen to land on there, you may see a little bit about um, something I've been working on over the last little while, which was this idea of a baby name oracle. And I think what that was, and the interest in that came from studying cybersecurity as well, which I use in my full-time job. But then applying those skills to something like naming and that sort of search for the names and the groupings of names and creating something that was fun, it's playful and interactive, but might expose you to names that you hadn't considered in that search for a name. So that's what I'm working on now as well in the background.
I love that. That is so
Yeah, a little bit
wonderful.
of fun.
Very cool. I actually have always dreamed of doing something like that. So I want to be your biggest cheerleader because I'm like, yes,
Oh, thank
somebody
you.
is doing this.
Yeah. I know it was sort of born from my own desire, and you've got to lean into your own strangeness sometimes. And I think it's so
Yeah.
niche and it's so weird. But if I, if I like it, maybe others will too. So
Yes.
hopefully that'll be done soon.
Great.
If I use shorthand, please stop me. But the development link is ready, and I'm just working on making that available to you all.
Great. Awesome. I will once that is available and also your Instagram account, I will be putting that in the description so people can find
Oh,
you
thank
because
you.
yeah, of course. I love what you do. And I think it's so interesting that you used words like beauty when you were just describing things um, and your account. I have to say, I see many name consultant Instagram accounts, and yours is by far the most beautiful in terms of the aesthetic and the
That's so
coloring.
kind.
And and guess what your name means? Before I continue with this episode, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by the Intentional Leader Network. If you're ready to grow as a leader but don't want to do it alone, this is for you. As a member of this virtual leadership network, I feel more confident in my leadership abilities and have skills I can draw from as I continue to grow in my leadership roles. If you are looking to grow intentionally in your leadership skills, I encourage you to subscribe and grow alongside me and a wonderful community of leaders. To join, check out the link in the show notes and start leading more intentionally today.
I do, yeah, no, of course, it does align, and it's yeah, no, it means beautiful, and I think it also means good in
Yes.
French, and yeah, no, it's an interesting thing because I do pursue beauty, not beyond the tyranny of perfection, to quote another beautiful writer that I love, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's something that in everything I do, it has to be present. And looking at baby, there's so many, and I'm the first to champion other people in this space as well. So there's so many beautiful people who have name pages, and I really engage with and love. But for me, I wanted something that looked and felt really aesthetic, kind
Hmm.
of the way I approach the the way I would write for brands, and bring that into it and bring it into something that aligns with a lot of people in the way they dress, or they're buying clothes, or they're buying pieces for their homes. And I thought that piece was missing, and it becomes more about the potential of the name and the word rather than just the child.
Hmm.
Because of course the name is something you wear throughout your life, and so it
Yes.
it gives focus to the word, the resonance of the word, the resonance of the name beyond childhood as well. And I think that a lot of baby naming pages, or just naming pages, um, often very focused on infancy.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense for sure.
Mm, yeah.
All right. Well, I will, instead of like asking my first question the way it's worded, because of what you do and how
Mhm.
much you know about names, I'm assuming you've already known your name, the meaning of it for quite some time. But I am curious, when did you first learn the meaning of your name?
That's a good question. I'm not sure that I can place that in time. Um, when I was young, I think, little, I would say. It's just something I feel like I've always known. I was curious about names because when I was a little girl, and certainly through high school, and I think your story is the same. There were no other Bonnies then, so it
Mm.
was, I was the only one in the school. So if you heard it over the loudspeaker, you
Yeah.
knew it was you. Um, so I think because of that, I sought out to understand it earlier,
Hmm.
um, which is why I knew its meaning. And I think, like you've said from listening to your podcast, it didn't resonate with me when I was young. I'm still not sure how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
I love the, I mean, the meaning is quite literally beautiful.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, it's something I wouldn't ever change my name because you become your name, but yeah, I don't feel like it resonated with me when I was younger.
Okay. And is
Mm,
Bonnie on your birth certificate?
it is.
Okay.
And I have a very traditional family. Um, and we have two middle names. My brother
Okay.
has three,
Oh,
and
wow.
their ancestors' surnames. So
Okay.
they're very unconventional names. And so people often thought that Bonnie was not my real name,
Yeah,
but
I was wondering if it
a
was a
diminutive. Yeah,
name.
yeah. No, it actually comes from, I think, a great grandmother whose name was Ida, but she was only ever known as Bonnie. So it's fair to think that. But I've certainly had letters addressed to my middle names and bits and pieces along the way, which having two middle names poses its own problems for forms.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, just I think I've it's it's grown on me.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Mm.
I will share, especially just for the listeners, a little bit more of what I found
Mhm.
in terms of the meaning of your name and some symbolisms of the words that are in the meaning. So, the name Bonnie originates from Scottish origins and meaning pretty, beautiful, good, or charming, which those are all lovely. And then they date back to the 16th century. It was originally used as an adjective for a lovely woman before becoming a popular feminine given name. It also holds roots in the French word bonne, and Latin bonus, both meaning good. And then I looked up the word, like what does beauty symbolize essentially? And beauty is, it
Mm.
says beauty is represented through a blend of natural, artistic, and cultural symbols that evoke pleasure, harmony, and admiration. And I thought that was quite
Oh,
lovely.
I like that. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that one before. Mm.
Yeah. So
It's a
I
really
take it
good
you like,
take.
oh, sorry, what?
No, I just said that's a really interesting perspective and take on it. I hadn't ever thought to actually look up what that meant.
Oh,
What beauty means. We think we know, but it's interesting to put it like that.
yeah, right. I know. I like to peel the
Mm.
onion a little more, get a little deeper.
Yeah.
Has seemed to become very enlightening to my guests. So I'm going to continue it.
No, thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah,
love it.
of course. Oh, and one other fact. So the name Bonnie reached its peak popularity in the United States during the 1940s and 50s. So not sure if you were aware of that
Oh,
either.
nice. No, I wasn't. I wasn't, but it would have placed this ancestor in that time frame too, I think. So that makes sense.
Nice. Okay. So I take it you like the meaning.
I do. I do. I
Okay.
mean, it's like, you can't really you
Who
can't really
wouldn't?
reject to such a
Yes,
positive meaning. Yeah.
for sure. Well, and I'm curious, how did your parents choose your name?
This is an interesting story because they had another name for me and they told very close friends who had a daughter a few months before me and they used the name.
Hmm.
Um, and that was Hannah. And then my dad named me. I think my mother had a completely different name that she just loved. And he suggested, and I think they both agreed that that was the name.
Oh,
Um, but it was my dad. Yeah.
oh, that's very cool. I
Hmm.
love that.
Yeah, me too. I'm really close. I'm very lucky. I'm very close to my family and my parents, and I love my dad. So
Mm,
it's nice that he chose my name.
good. Nice. When have you, I'm just curious, have you ever had the thought cross your mind, like, I wish I had a different name?
Oh, definitely. Um,
Really?
I think, yeah, I think for me growing up, this is such a funny thing to say, but the lettering felt really round
Hmm.
and a bit cute, and I never identified with being cute.
Hmm.
Um, and I think because of my early experience living overseas and amongst different cultures, I really wanted something that was either completely mainstream, because it was the 90s when I was at school and everyone was Sarah or Kate, and I just wanted to fit in. So I wanted to be a Sarah or something else,
Hmm.
or something really exotic. And you'll probably see a little bit of that on my page. There are internationally relevant names, and so when you live in Italy and France and Switzerland, of course, everyone has these beautiful, seeming to an Australian exotic names.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think I did. I think I think I often thought, oh, I would
Yeah.
love a really beautiful, beautiful name, not just in meaning,
It's
but in
interesting.
lettering.
Yeah,
Mm.
when you were saying exotic, I was looking at your name on the screen, and the word that came to my mind was bonita. And I was like, oh my
Oh, yeah.
gosh. Like, when you hear like
Mm.
bonita in songs, like it means like beautiful. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I like that. Mm.
Yeah, and now I'm gonna remember the meaning even more just because especially like and then like the chocolate the bonbons like those are also very good. So I will also remember
They're
it from
so
that.
good. And to add to that story, it's probably out of place in this podcast, but it's become a thing because I really love making beautiful things, and I'll have to show you a photo after this because you'll be curious. But it's
Yeah.
become tradition every year that I will make bonbons for Christmas, and I
Oh.
make very intricate, like, um, I think in the last couple of years, I've done a really beautiful paper heart box that it folds together, and an apple that's segmented, and bits and pieces that you kind of have to open and unravel, and there's something inside. And I do fortunes and chocolates and bits and pieces. So it's become a kind of running joke because it's Bonnie who makes the bonbons for Christmas, but
I
it's
love
my
it.
happy place. That kind of, yeah, fine, intricate, detailed work to create something beautiful is sort of my sweet spot.
That's so amazing and I love it. Again, it kind
Totally
of
eccentric.
yeah, you are
But
literally living your name.
yeah, it's funny how that happens, isn't it? You kind of you it almost feels inevitable sometimes when you meet people and yeah, you become your name.
Yeah, for sure. And I've always been interested in how much a name influences a human being and
Mm,
the psychology behind it. And I'm very grateful to have been blessed to have the idea for this podcast because it has allowed me to collect more data because I have multiple theories about how
mm.
the name can influence your life. And I'm just wanting to get more and more and more data. So I'm very grateful for each person I get to learn about.
I
So.
find that really fascinating, and I've actually prepared for your last question, so I'll wait to speak to that until we
Oh,
get there.
good. Okay.
But I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
think it does have some kind of influence. And if you look at everything as energy and sound as energy, and how and the resonance of that and how that can impact our perception.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think yeah, I think I will look. I'll wait for the data to come in, and I'd love to hear what
Yeah,
theory you come up with.
for sure. Oh, yeah. And I did want to ask you, it's kind of related to the
Mhm,
last question. If you were forced to change your first name,
mhm,
what would you choose and why?
good question. Um, I have thought about this because I'm a writer, and I there is a bit of a blessing curse because if you're a writer, you almost digest experience by writing about it. So you end up writing about the people around you and your experience, and it can be really tricky sometimes because it's so honest. And I thought, if I had a pen name, if I had to write something and publish it, if I had a pen name, what would it be? And I think it's interesting because the name that I really love, my daughter loves, and is my youngest daughter's middle name, and really reflects my second name, and that would be Naya.
That's beautiful. How do you spell that?
Naia, and it
Mm.
comes from the Naiad, as in ancient Greek, meaning water nymph.
Mm.
Which is funny because it's specifically of not of the ocean, but of the rivers in terms of the background of the word. And it's funny because I really love fresh water. And I, it's not that I don't love the ocean. It's just I don't really gravitate towards the ocean. It's more, rivers and lakes,
Yeah.
in mountains that I really, really love. But my middle name is, I'll spell it first. I think it's also Scottish. I don't look Scottish at all. Is Nairn, Nairn, which has a similar origin.
Interesting.
Mm,
I like that. And
yeah.
I love names. I actually do love names that start with B and N. I think they're very I don't know, comforting to me. And I know that might sound weird to somebody, but
Mm.
those are
No, I
letters.
I totally, because you're coming to this with the same kind of interest, I'll mention something and that I don't often mention is that as a little girl, I'd sit in bed and I'd think about the letters of the alphabet and what color they were.
Mm,
And it's just something I did as an almost ritual when I went to sleep. And I've later learned because it's fixed for me, every letter has a color,
hmm.
that changes with words. Things have colors, particularly for me, letters.
Yeah.
And someone once said to me, "That sounds like synesthesia." And there's a whole um, named. I'm not sure whether it's a condition or if it's a anyway, but it's people can see music as colors and letters as colors, and so for you to say certain letters have a feeling about them or a sense about them that feels grounded, that makes
Interesting.
perfect sense to me. Yeah. You should
That's
Google that.
wild.
You'll go down a rabbit hole, but it was only from
Love
me
it.
saying, "Oh, yeah, letters have colors."
Oh, I love that you said that. And when you were saying
Mm,
that, when I was thinking of the letter B and also the letter N, I just think of this like soft yellow, this like butter yellow. And
mm,
I don't
yeah.
know if you think the same way or not, but that's so interesting.
You should Google synesthesia and see where it takes you because it
Okay.
sounds like there are elements of that which you might relate to. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. I am curious. Has
Mhm.
your name ever been mispronounced? And if so, how did it make you feel? What kind of emotions did it bring?
Mm, I don't it's not often mispronounced. I do, and I think you've had other guests who say this. I'll have people call me Holly or something really proximate in sound, but has
Hmm.
nothing to do with the letters. I get misspellings all the time, and you think, Bonnie, it's phonetic. How can you misspell it? The one that I really don't like is Bonney that I get. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind if people pick a variation, which is obviously Bonny. But I think it's just careless. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking a lot about this lately, and it's really, in all the work that I do and all the interaction I have with clients and all whether that's in my 9 to 5 job or as a writer, I think it's really important to get names right. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it feels so basic, really. and it builds trust with someone, as in you've been bothered to know their name. So I think if anything, if someone gets your name wrong, you think they're either being lazy or they don't care.
Yeah, 100% agree. It builds
Mm.
trust and respect for sure.
And respect, and respect. And if you don't know, that's okay, but ask.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Could not agree more.
Particularly with, yeah, pronunciation. I have a daughter who, my youngest, I've given her a name that will be mispronounced throughout her life, I'm sure. Um, and I don't mind when people ask. It's when they butcher it, they butcher it, that it bothers me more than if they just ask how to say it.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. All right, my second to last question, which is my favorite, and I'm very curious
Mm.
about your answer. Do you think that the meaning of your name has any relevance on the way that you act or the way that you see the world around you? And if so, how?
Mhm. Well, given everything I've said, it would have to say that it hasn't. Um, I think there's a natural alignment between my name and the way I see the world. Um, and um, I would like to think that that's influenced who I am and the way I see the world. In a paradoxical kind of way, I think, I've struggled with that, particularly as a woman, and maybe I'm going too deep here, but you have your own sense of doubt and lack of confidence with your own physical beauty, but to seek it out in and through other things around you and through your environment and through nature and through words and language and you know art and objects, I think, um, is something that I've always done. So I do, I think that there's a connection between the two.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. All right, my last question. So, when I started this podcast, it'll be 2 years come June. I really
Mm.
wanted to know what books were saying about the significance of names. And I just went ahead and said, like, let me look at the best-selling book of all time, happens to be the Bible. And there are quite a few examples the more that I'm reading it and learning about it where
Mm.
it talks about people's names being changed. And I'm just curious about your opinion. Um, so, like, for example, in Genesis, it talks about God telling Abram, like, your name will no longer be Abram, it will be Abraham, and then your wife's name will also change. And I'm just curious, what is your opinion about, like, why do you think that was even mentioned instead of just starting with the new name being written in the book?
I think that's such an interesting question, and I should begin by saying I'm not religious at all, so the perspective I have comes outside of the bounds of religion.
Mhm.
Um, though I really respect the way different cultures view names and sound and have interpreted that. And from my understanding, um, and from a little bit of intrigue I've had with a woman I came across who looks at soul contracts, which is all about the letters of your name and what that means as a soul contract. Which is all based on the Hebrew alphabet, which for every letter has a sound, and every sound has a meaning. And so names based on their sound have meaning. And so it would stand to reason that if through cycles of time and evolution, you make a decision to change your name, you're changing the meaning, and there's that shift in perspective, which I think also, creates growth, growth for humanity, probably. And it's not just a name; it's that shift of attention and energy and focus and meaning. And my understanding of that is it's not just names, it's all words. It's everything is auditory. So it's the way we communicate, which is, vibrational. So I think it's probably um, to do with time and evolution and the perspective that offers.
Mm. Well, that was probably one of the most beautiful responses I've ever had to that question. Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
you're welcome.
Those were
You're
all of my
welcome.
questions. Did you have any questions for me?
I do. I thought about this because thought, what an opportunity to ask you some questions as well. I have a few, so bear with me.
Okay.
The first is you're someone who cares deeply about the meaning of a name. And even in my own naming journey, I'd come across names that I really loved, but then I'd look at the meaning and I didn't like the meaning. And
Hmm.
so it begs the question, and this is really about peeling the layers of the onion that you spoke to earlier, I think.
Hmm.
But would you use a name that you came across that you loved and felt connected to, but whose meaning you didn't quite resonate with, or it was slightly negative in some ways? The example that I can give you is my daughter's name.
Hmm.
It's a very, very old name, Silka, which
Hmm.
is spelt Cilka. The
Oh,
internet definition is in German, it's Silke. Silke means celestial,
okay.
from Celeste and Celine. Silka, the meaning that is offered is blind or sixth.
Okay. Interesting.
So I'm just interested in your perspective on that. I chose to use the name, and I dug deeper for an older meaning, the resonance
Mhm.
of an older meaning, which was heavenly and heavenly lily.
Oh, wow.
Um, what is your perspective on that? And if someone came to you and said, "I love this name, but I don't like the meaning,"
Yeah.
would you use it?
Okay, this is a wonderful question. And
Mm.
it's a very psychological question, actually.
It is. It is, and because I think it's a real barrier, and it can be a real barrier where you can otherwise really connect with something, but then you face that. I think
Hmm.
from what I've heard from you say, when you didn't feel like the original meaning connected with
Mhm.
your name. So it's interesting that sometimes that could be, it almost feels like there's something else there that is perhaps meant to be. I don't know. I'm curious to hear what you think.
Yes. So, well, first and foremost, just to help you understand a little bit about me and why I would give you the answer that I'm giving you,
Mm,
is I am very much an optimist. I will always see the glass
mm.
half full. I'm a very positive person. And I've been through some very hard things in my life that have even more so propelled me to be a positive person because I need that to maintain a good, healthy mindset.
Yeah.
And also, the meaning of my name being paradigm shifter or supplanter, in terms of uprooting something and then looking at it from a different perspective, I do feel like it's fully ingrained into who I am, the meaning of my name. And
Mm,
with that being said, I do believe that, well, even my own name, in terms of if you look at the original origins, I didn't like that meaning. I thought it was a negative meaning. But because of who I am, I turned it around. And I think that I also have, from what I am learning in life, I have some good theories about names. And I think that even if you have a negative meaning from the surface of your name, that is not necessarily going to define you or be a prophecy about your life and who you will become. It could be something that you should be aware of, that you can
mm,
overcome and be intentional about not having that swallow you or becoming your identity, you can transform that negative into a positive. So I guess that's my answer.
I love that. I love that.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I ended up using a name with a meaning that superficially I didn't resonate with at all, but I knew there was more to it than that. So, no,
Yeah.
that's a wonderful response.
Thank you.
I have a second question.
Okay.
As a mother, I have twins who are a little bit older, so there's a big gap between my twins and my little one.
Hmm.
If you were to name twins today, what would they be?
Oh,
Which is really an opportunity to pick two girls' names or two boys' names or one of each.
oh my goodness. Oh, okay. This is interesting. I
Mm,
and I do have a fascination with twins too, because like I
mm.
think it would be very fascinating to interview just a whole hundreds of twins and see how their names and their personalities turn out. But that's not the question. So I really love the name Audrey. I'm semi-obsessed
Mm,
with Audrey Hepburn. I love Breakfast at Tiffany's. I just love her style and her poise and her grace. I love the meaning of the name, meaning noble strength. And I like the A. So I
mm.
feel like if I had a girl in this set of twins, her name would be Audrey. And immediately the name Alistair came to mind. I have,
Oh, beautiful.
yeah, Alistair, this man, his name is Alistair. I forget the last name, but he's an apologist and he's in England and just very well spoken, very intelligent, um, good positive vibes from him. So I think maybe Audrey and Alistair probably.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I have a real thing, and you've probably caught on to this about lettering as well.
Hmm.
The lettering really matters, and I think they're both the lettering of Audrey and Alistair are really beautiful.
Yeah. I also will say
Mm.
this. When I was little, I had a baby doll and I named her
Hmm.
Natasha. I loved the name Natasha.
Ah, I really gravitate. This must be a past life thing. Um, to Eastern European names.
Okay, yeah.
Um, so Nadia, Natasha, Claudia, um,
Yeah.
Silka is actually a Czech name.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's something that's really feminine about them, but they also strong. They've got the k sound, I think, is what I really love in them, is that they've got that strength as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can understand that one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
there are so many beautiful names, and there are so many beautiful names across different naming styles and families.
yeah.
Um, it's not one dimensional ever. I love it.
Yeah. And I did think of one more because I was trying to think of like two girls,
Yeah.
two boys, and the combination. So if I had two boys, I love the name Henry. I've always loved Henry.
Henry's classic.
Yeah.
My nephew is a Henry. Yeah,
Cool.
it's a beautiful name. I
Yeah.
have one final question,
Sure, go for
which is
it.
probably a bit more daring, and it's the um maybe this is the incorrect use of language, but the guilty pleasure name. And I say this because I think, and I'm not sure if it's the same in America, but there's definitely a rise in popularity of word names or names that kind of push boundaries of what we would consider traditional names or names.
Hmm.
Um, do you have, and I say this I add that because it provides context to the question, because for me, I have a couple of word names that I'm not brave enough to use and wouldn't use on my own children, but I do like them.
Yeah.
And so, are there names that feel a bit too out there or like to push the boundary a bit too much for you that you still love but would never use?
Oh, gosh. I don't
It's
know.
a hard one. You may not
I
have an answer to that one.
Yeah, let me think about this. Hmm.
I
Honestly,
can give
yeah.
you one of mine while you think about it, if that helps.
Oh, yeah,
And that
sure.
is, I'm a big proponent of names with a precedent. So, for example, 20 years ago, River would have been a bit more daring. Now it's quite common to use River as a name. I love it as a name. I wouldn't, my twins are almost 15. I wasn't brave enough to use it then, but I would have been brave enough to use it now because it's entered sort of public consciousness and it's much
Mhm.
more common as a name. The one that I have now, I would never use because it's a bit too out there, but the lettering I love, the sense I get from it I love is velvet. And there are
Oh,
people I have come across velvets, and I'm like, "Ooh, I actually love that. Would never use it. I'm not brave enough to, but I do love it."
yeah. Oh, wow. Hmm.
And you may not have any. There may not be any that sort of
Yeah.
make sense to you. So
I'm
it's
like
always a
trying to
good
think.
opportunity to say, "Is there a name that I'm not brave enough to use but I actually really like?"
Yeah, honestly, I can't think. I mean, okay,
You can't think
I
of
do
any.
like the name Jasmine, but I
Mm,
probably would never use it. I think it seems very exotic
mm.
but it's not, yeah, I don't know. And that's the first one that came to mind, but like I really can't like think of anything.
No, that's okay. That's okay. It's just an opportunity, as I said,
Yeah.
to almost like an alter ego in some ways. It's like what name
Yeah.
you're attracted to, but that you'd never actually use on a
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
hard thing.
on a
Because, and
child.
I'll also say this, I respect the
Mm,
question, and I think it's a fun question, but to me, I feel like I can't answer. Like, even though I gave you an answer, like, I feel like it's
mm.
very hard to answer because I want to respect everyone and I don't want anyone to take offense or anything like that if you have that name, and I don't know.
Oh, totally.
So,
Well, no, I only mention them because they're names I love, and I think it speaks a
yeah.
little bit to your last question, which is, like River. I know for me when I was naming
Mm,
my twins, a
yeah.
beautiful name, beautiful meaning, but I wasn't ready for that because the only river I knew was River Phoenix, and it felt
Yeah.
a little bit too peripheral for me to what we would consider, you know, I I mean, I've got kids with unusual names, so I've sort of done that anyway, but,
Mm,
um and
yeah.
now there's that shift in perspective and perception,
Yeah.
and it is very widely well loved and a widely loved name, which I think is really beautiful. And I think that, and it speaks to that question about shifts in name and meaning, is that isn't it interesting that in this short period of time,
Hmm.
everything has shifted,
Yeah.
um, which I love too, because we're in a different place. Culturally, we're in a different place, and a name like that sits beautifully in many classrooms. So
Yeah.
I certainly mean no offense either. Actually, adore both names.
Yeah.
Um, I just don't
Yeah,
feel
no.
brave enough to use one
I get
yet,
what
but
you're
in 10
saying.
years, it's probably going to be really popular.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. And I think you actually just kind of shifted my paradigm a little bit. I think if I could slightly rephrase your question and say what's like
Sure.
a word that could be a name that doesn't sound like a name that you wouldn't use.
Yes,
Like,
that's probably a better way to phrase it. Yeah.
because I was thinking of yeah, the word phoenix and then also
Yeah.
the word apple. I know that Gwyneth
Yeah.
Paltrow's daughter is named Apple, and I think it sounds and it like when you look at it, you're just like, that's not a name, but it is a name. It can be a name, and there's
It
nothing
can
wrong
be
with
a
that.
name.
Yeah, those are
Yeah. And
almost like
even
mind tricks, I think.
I think there's a beautiful Australian actress who loves names, and she called one of her daughters Poet. And I
Hmm.
think that a lot of people really responded to that as a name, and now you're seeing poets pop up. And it's that again, it's that shift of what you how you approach a word, and could it be a name, and could it be a really beautiful name? And then you consider other names like Daisy and Jasmine and other and Lily, which are so accepted, and they sit in that same category of word names. So I think that it's a really interesting space in terms of how names are evolving. Um,
Yes,
so thank you for reframing that. That's probably a much better way to reframe it.
it's
But
okay.
yeah,
All good.
beautiful names, beautiful potential.
Yeah, for sure. Those are great questions. Did you have any more? I love them.
Ah, look, I could go on, but I thought, oh, I'll ask her three. I've got an opportunity to ask her three.
Perfect. Well, it was a
So
pleasure.
thank you so much. Such a
Yeah.
pleasure.
If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to subscribe or follow the podcast on your favorite platform. Your support helps me continue bringing you meaningful conversations with remarkable guests. Don't forget to tune in next time for more insightful discussions and inspiring stories. Until then, thank you for listening and keep striving to make a positive impact wherever you are. And don't forget to tap into the meaning of your own name to find a deeper sense of confidence in your purpose.